Hello and welcome to Animated Wonders, an Explosion Network podcast where we celebrate animation in all of its forms. This is Animated Wonders. In this season, we'll be discussing all the films in the Toy Story franchise. Hello and welcome to Season 3 of Animated Wonders. This season, we're talking about all things Toy Story. My name's Dylan Blight, and joining me to discuss today's Animated Wonder, Ashley Hobley.
Hey Dylan, excited to be here because I've got a snake in my boot.
Whoa, calm down. Today's movie is Toy Story, of which... who hasn't watched it? I will be shocked. Toy Story was released originally in 1995. It comes from the USA, directed by John Lasseter. Script and story came from Joss Whedon, Andrew Stanton, Joel Cohen, not that one, and Alex Sokolow. Comes, of course, from Pixar and was distributed by Walt Disney Pictures. The cast is Tom Hanks, Tim Allen, Annie Potts, John Ratzenberger, Don Rickles, Wallace Shawn, and Jim Varney. The synopsis for the film is: a cowboy doll is profoundly jealous when a new spaceman action figure supplants him as the top toy in a boy's bedroom. When circumstances separate them from their owner, the duo have to put aside their differences to return to him. I will be honest, for these Toy Story ones, I will be shocked if there's too much deep to go on. They're just, for everyone, I feel like, especially for our age and stuff, all these movies definitely have to be childhood, just hand in hand with childhood a bit. So
you would think that, but I did listen to like a prominent movie podcast talking about releases coming this year, and someone mentioned they had not watched any Toy Story films, and nobody batted an eyelash.
That's insane to me. That is insane to me. I feel like anyone around our age and whatever.
If you're under 40 and you haven't seen Toy Story.
Yeah, I'm assuming you've watched at least the first couple Toy Stories.
Yeah. It would be bizarre.
Actually, I'm going to take that back. Even older, because my parents have watched them all because they had to watch them when they was watching them for me and my brother as a kid, you know?
Yeah.
So if you were my parents' generation and you also haven't seen Toy Story, I'd be shocked, because what the fuck were you showing your kids?
Maybe they went off drinking while you watched the movie.
Yeah, true. So I don't even know if it's worth asking if it's your first time watching. Of course it's not. What were your expectations going into this rewatch of Toy Story?
I mean, it's Toy Story, so expectations were high because it is a very good movie. So, yeah, I mean, I think it holds up. It is still this really great story of a character having to do with change happening in their personal life, a really interesting world that they've built of toys coming to life when we're not in the room with them. Yeah, and this kind of, odd couple kind of relationship that gets explored over the course of this film. I think, I don't know, maybe because I was watching it late at night, it's like, what is the pacing of the events that happen in this film? Because I thought them leaving the room happened maybe a little later than it actually does. It happens quite early. And then a lot of that is them trying to get back to Andy, So it was just interesting, like my memory of the film, I guess, and how the events kind of took place and played out. But yeah, it's still good. It's a shocker.
When is the last time you reckon you watched it?
Maybe around the time Toy Story 4 came out.
Yeah, I think my answer, I'm pretty sure I watched 1, 2, 3 all before 4.
Yeah.
So, and upteenth times of 1 and 2. My answer is just to get that ahead, because why not? Upteenth times I would have watched 1 and 2 because they were out when I was a lot younger. 3 I've only watched a couple times, but 1 and 2 I don't know, because they were
ad nauseum.
Yeah, because they were just VHSs in the house,
Yeah.
They were just constantly on.
Yes.
So, so this is a film I feel like I know quite well. Go in to watch it. It's just a comfy watch. It's not a, I can sort of I feel bad saying this, but like I'm quite happy. I was quite happy to multitask while watching it because I've seen it so many so many times. It's still really, really good. It's like it is sort of annoying that I go into to watch it, especially because it's for this podcast now, and I'm sort of looking for a new take, but I don't really have one. Like it's just, I'm like,
it's secretly been terrible the whole time.
Yeah, I'm like searching for something new, but I'm like, it's Toy Story. It's a one of the greatest animated films of all time, and yeah, I mean, it's Toy Story, right? Core themes I had down for this one: friendship and jealousy. I guess is the main crux. I don't think as we go through this run of Toy Story films, they're not going to be thematically as deep as we did on the first run of films we did on this podcast. But a lot more surface level doesn't mean they're not still interesting. And my question is sort of, are these things that you think even subconsciously get through to kids? Because I never thought about any of this when you're a kid, you're just watching it. But do you think any of these ideas even get through? Because it's really just a film, like with everything that happens, but at the end of the day, the movie is just sort of about Woody's jealousy and then the overcoming that, and then two people having to make up and be friends.
Yeah, I don't know whether that followed through. I think probably more I was nicer to my toys post this movie coming out. But yeah, I think obviously the core idea is the jealousy thing, or I guess accepting change in your relationships, because Woody is used to being numero uno and now is sharing that top spot. So I think that is a relatable story idea. Like, you could easily, if say it wasn't toys, it could have easily been a story about kids. You making a new friend at your high school when your best friend from childhood has gone to another school, and like now that person is spending time with somebody else and that kind of thing. Or interestingly, I always think that these Toy Story films are weirdly this story about parenthood, and like what your kid's sole parent, the sole person they want to go spend time with, and then suddenly they meet somebody and now they want to spend all their time with that person instead of you as the parent. You know what I mean? So, and a lot of times when he says, like, they'll talk about being a toy is the best thing. Like, you could either replace toy with parent and it would probably ring true. You know what I mean? So, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's people. I mean, over the years, there's been, I guess, people have numerous takes and ideas of the read on the potential through line themes and ideas behind the films, or what you could take out of them. A lot of them focus on, obviously focus on Andy, even though he's barely sort of in the movies, but like that trajectory path of him changing. I've seen one time where people focused on the mum and like like goes there.
They go into the history of the mum. The mum's like a widower or something like that, and like.
Well, yeah, I mean that it is. I mean, it was a choice to. I mean, it was a choice to a single parent in 1990. What did I say? 95? Is that what? 1995? Yeah.
Yeah.
For a good value American film.
Yeah.
You would think they would have gone with a two-parent household just because of the whole Christian values USA sort of thing, audience appeal to that audience, but it's always interesting.
You know why I think they went and the one parent?
Why?
Less models.
It's probably true.
Less character models they have to make.
It's very true. Yeah, I think whenever I've like looked at the not high school, but I've always viewed the friendship, the group thing, and all that. Like it's, I've always just viewed it as, especially given the potential audience and age I was watching it as, like primary school age group. It's like new kid comes in the school and suddenly he's friends with your friendship group, and you used to be like the top dog in this little friendship group, and now there's a new kid that's just come in, and everyone likes him because he's moved in from America or something. Like he's from overseas, so he's super interesting.
He's an astronaut.
yeah, he's an astronaut. Yeah, yeah. And you treat him like shit, and
then you realize you're not that different.
Yeah, because at the end of the day,
you're just kids.
We're all just kids on the inside.
And the outside too.
We're
kids.
Cultural context for this one, I think obviously the big thing that I always point out is the first computer generated animated film, however we're wording that. Obviously such a big deal at the time, and the pinpoint for changing of animation forever, sort of from here on out. The whole thing with Pixar and Steve Jobs being involved, there's a whole interesting thing to Pixar's history and stuff, which is always quite intriguing to read about. But how do you think it? I think it still holds up and it's watchable and everything, but you can tell it's early computer generated animation, right?
I mean, you can tell, but also I feel like it does hold up pretty well because of smart choices they made. Like it being stylized in a way, it being set around toys and not mostly people. I think clearly the people models are not good in this film. First mill.
There's a reason Spike looks like such a crazy sort of works for his character, but
yes,
because he looks crazy.
And I'm sure we'll get into it with like some of the other like characters and that kind of stuff in comparison to where they are when the next movie Spring comes around and that kind of thing. But I think like very plain textures on large because everything is the toys are small, so everything is closer up and that kind of thing. It's like it's easier to shade that kind of stuff, or like it's all like the edge of his bed takes up more space on the screen than it would like for a human, where you have to have all the smaller details and that kind of thing. So I think they probably just made smart choices to make the most of their limitations.
I think the other thing that, I mean, tell me if anything comes to your mind, but when thinking about cultural context, I just think that before this, and there may have been some other things I can't think of, but this film sort of shifted what animated films sort of characters and stuff you could do also, because in the lead up to this, especially when you look at old Disney's films, of course, it's either animals or humans, or human animals or animals, you know what I mean? Like it's all, I think this, you see a sort of shift after this, a lot more experimentation in the years following Toy Story, the next 10, 20, 30 years following Toy Story, that you get all these movies where you're doing movies starring more random objects and creatures and stuff that people really hadn't thought about before. Would you agree, or do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely a novel idea to have like it be about toys, inanimate objects, that kind of thing. Whereas it was all the animated. Well, I guess you got the Brave Little Toaster and that kind of thing, but like most things were like animals or children or adult stories. You know, I think it definitely opened up a bunch of new potentials.
We sort of just went over the animation quality and style, so I'll still skip that. But yeah, you were talking about the pacing before. Do you think it's just that the? Do you think the pacing's bad, or is it just that the
No, it's just my memory of how the movie was paced. I think it is paced really well.
Because it's rather fast, really. It's barely really, 90. It's like very 90 minutes.
It's barely 90 minutes, and it fits a lot in, which is very surprising. So it's structured reasonably well. So
yeah, they speed out the gate. It's like, get there, quick introduction. Here's the general lay of the
Buzz shows up. We have a montage, and then he's angry.
Yep. Now we're on the road.
Yeah, and then he tries to kill him. Yes.
Yep. Well, basically, yeah. Woody tries to commit murder. So yeah, but it's given that the huge journey they always go that they go on within this movie. The story is still at the end of the day a rather simplistic one, which just goes to show that, because you could write the events of this movie, like the core story, down in like very quickly of like Woody and Buzz do this, da, 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 da. Like there's not a lot, but it still goes to show that you can do a lot without having a super large story at the same time, I think. Who's Toy Story made for?
I think it's definitely a kids movie. Like that's the audience they were going for, but obviously it's telling such a universal and interesting story that it could be seen by all ages, I believe. Like if you don't like, even now, if you don't like what at our age, if you don't like watching Toy Story, then there's something wrong with you. Simple as that.
I don't know if they. I really don't know if they. I do believe that they definitely went into making these movies not with a kid-focused mind, but just doing that. Like we're just making an all ages film, which is the right way. I think you should structure your thoughts and stuff. The only other thing I'd have for this around the kids and who it's made for. Do you feel the Spike stuff is too scary? Because it didn't scare the shit out of me as a kid, but it always freaked me out.
It was a little spooky. His assortment of toys, I guess you would call them.
I remember the first time seeing that the head crawl out on the spider leg thing, seeing that as a kid, and I was like, nah, that's not good. That's not good at all. And I do wonder if they would do something as freaky as that now. It seems
yes, we'll get to it, but they would. I don't know if spooky, but like they definitely were willing to traumatize children in certain ways in the follow-up movies.
Okay, I can't remember anything. Is it from?
Definitely not spooky.
Just traumatized kids.
Yeah,
classic. All right. Wondrous elements. Pick 2 elements of the film that stand out most to you: animation, visual style, music and sound design, voice performances, world building, emotional impact.
I'm gonna go world building, just because building the world of these toys, the grouping, and the way that the ideas they've got around how toys would exist when we're not in the room, I think is really fantastic. And I think it's the vocal performances. Tim Allen as Buzz Lightyear, fully committed to the idea that he is not a toy; he is the actual Buzz Lightyear. And then Tom Hanks being, Woody. I think also, I know we talk about how important this film was, like from a computer animation standpoint. I also feel like this was also continued the trend of big name actors in animated films. Like, I think to an extent, animation studios saw Toy Story, and that was one of the key takeaways they took from the film. You need to have a name lead in your film too.
Yeah. So what do you think about the OG poster? It's like it has their names. Like, Tom Hanks, Tim Allen.
Like I'm trying to do a quick look at animated films before. Like, I mean, I guess Aladdin would be the only other one that voice acting wise you would spring to mind, like with big name people. But after that, it wasn't until after that you saw, a bunch of big actors, I guess, phoning it in.
Nowadays, it's an expectation that every animated movie has a bunch of big name, recognizable actors on it.
Yes. And
they market it on, a lot of the films will just market on the voice actors, or even, I guess, like you'll have Rihanna in something, it's like it's marketed on Rihanna's voicing this character.
Yeah.
So, I'm going voice performances for basically the same sort of reasons. I think, this is what we're just talking about. It sort of started this big name, get high caliber talent and big names in voice performances, and the roles are so memorable. But then I'm going to go to animation visual styles, my one, just because it was the first computer generated animated film. So stands out for that. No one else can claim that. No one else has got it. What's your favorite moment, sequence, scene, character?
I I think it has to be the rocket scene. The whole getting back to Andy scene, I think, is fantastically put together, and pays off a lot of ideas set up earlier in the film. Whether it's all the other toys being angry at them because they think Woody has tried to murder Buzz out of jealousy, or using RV to get around, or like, you know, the using his helmet as a source of heat to start the rocket. I think, you know, it's a brilliant and a callback to he's not flying, he's falling with style. I think is a really delightful payoff to everything.
I'm gonna go with the claw, which was always my favorite scene as a kid, just because of how funny those little creatures are.
Listen, this is a movie that does stretch its own believability in certain points. Like in my scene, would Buzz actually float around and fly around like he does in that? No. They're
not ergodynamic wings at all. They're just plastic things.
But that is far more believable than Sid using in a claw machine, pulling two toys out, which weigh much more than the soft plush toys that the claw would have been barely able to pick up before.
Yeah, but also I don't care.
You got to remember, Woody is pulling it as well. There's no way that claw would have held on.
But it's still the best scene for me, because for the rest of my life, whenever using one of those machines, you can say that line, just like the claw. Let people know what you mean, you know?
Yeah.
So, I think let's talk about place in the animation history. I don't think we need to reiterate. We sort of covered that as we've been talking here, that this is, I mean, is there anything you want to add, I guess, as far as?
I think it's an interesting thought exercise. Like, what if it hadn't been good and successsul?
I reckon no one would have.
Do we talk about ants as like this incredible?
No, I don't know.
Incredible film? No, because that's not that great a film. But obviously, that's the next one in the pipeline. Like, does Pixar, and does Pixar become the thing it becomes? Does computer animation become the standard effectively throughout the industry? Who knows?
I reckon if it hadn't succeeded, more people would have stuck to traditional animation techniques for a lot longer.
Yeah.
So it would have affected the industry for sure if it hadn't been as big a success as it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
All right.
I will say, I feel like whether it holds up or whatever in regards to, it's like, I feel like the further we get along in the series, the more that we'll notice the animation jumps. I've talked about it before on, I believe, one of our video game podcasts. Maybe they should just remake Toy Story. Like, reanimate it. Like, you don't need to redo the voice or anything, but like, redo it with the character models that you've got for Toy Story 5.
I'm going to say something disgusting, even though I guarantee it's something out there that someone's thinking about. Guarantee someone out there is playing around with some AI technology to make shit like this just do itself for them.
Mm-hmm.
Can almost guarantee that's something someone's thinking about.
And hopefully it's not someone high up at Disney.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it was. Is my problem.
Yeah.
We hope you've enjoyed this episode of Animated Wonders. Let us know what you thought of the film on social media at explosionnetwork.com/follow. If you enjoyed the show, you can find more podcasts, reviews, and pop culture coverage over at explosionnetwork.com. And if you'd like to support the podcast and Explosion Network, head on over to explosionnetwork.com/support. Until the next episode, remember that animation is cinema.